The UK is developing a cutting-edge fighter jet that could replace the entire European fleet. The development was carried out directly by the British Ministry of Defence, as well as by such companies as BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce, Leonardo, and MBDA. BAE Systems has recently released a video demonstrating the unique Tempest fighter jet and a number of its features. It's very fast, maneuverable, equipped with laser weapons and a stealth system capable of controlling drones from a distance and attacking the enemy without human intervention. Its description sounds threatening, but is Tempest really that good? And will it be able to withstand the American NGAD and Dark Star?
News in this announcement is the cooperation of the British, Italian and Japanese defence industries on the building of this new combat aircraft.
The emergence of a sixth-generation European fighter jet seems like something incredible, because Europe currently has only fourth-generation fighters, while the US, China, and others are already working with the fifth-generation fighter jets. The Eurofighter Typhoon is considered the best fighter jet in the European Union. It's truly remarkable, a speed of 1,500 miles per hour, a flight altitude of over 52,500 feet, a huge arsenal of weapons, and reliable avionics. However, even such a great fighter has to be put on the back burner, as it was developed more than 25 years ago. It's time to create a new technology like Tempest. A huge part of a fighter jet's success depends on the person who develops it, because a newcomer's unlikely to be able to do anything worthwhile. But don't worry, the team of the fighter jet's developers includes real military specialists from different countries. Engineers from the UK, Italy, Switzerland, and Germany are involved in the development. BAE Systems and Rolls-Royce are just one example. This cooperative development approach is justified by the fact that few EU countries can afford to build a new generation fighter. Moreover, many states don't have the appropriate technical facilities. However, Tempest shows that if you combine your efforts, knowledge, and budget, you can create an aircraft that can beat anyone.
This is just one potential concept, what it might look like. It's to describe a vision more than anything else. It's to put something tangible in people's minds as to what the Tempest future fighter might look like. That's undefined yet. That this might be a smaller aircraft, it might be a bigger aircraft, it might have loyal wingmen of unmanned air vehicles alongside it whenever it's sent into theatre. That we don't fully know what it will look like, but we know that in 2040 onwards, we will have an emerging and enhancing threat that we need to develop technologies and capabilities to really overcome.
The first thing that stands out is the variable wing shape. It can be rotated, extended, deployed, and adjusted to suit your needs. This makes it possible to adapt the aircraft to different conditions and tasks, as well as to change speed and maneuverability. But an even more important part of a fighter jet is the engine, and who better than Rolls-Royce to make it? Despite the fact that the technology of hypersonic engines is complex and requires solving many technical problems, such as cooling components at extreme temperatures, the Tempest engine copes with all the difficulties. It has additional air guides that help the air to enter the combustion chamber where the inlet air mixes with the fuel, namely liquid hydrogen. After the fuel's burned, a strong expansion occurs which creates a jet force. This accelerates the fighter jet to a remarkable speed of 1,860 miles per hour. The new engine has 2 flight modes and is also equipped with a hydrogen tank for short-term flight at a speed of 2,800 miles per hour. Rolls-Royce engineers are conducting aerodynamic tests of the engine now, using new manufacturing processes to create an updated air duct that'll have a unique shape. They want to slow the air down from supersonic to subsonic speeds to maximize stealth and fuel economy.
Supposed to fly within 5 years at Warton in Lancashire. So, I mean, yes, it is perhaps moving faster than we really think. So,
with such an engine, the Tempest can easily outrun an American NGAD fighter moving at a top speed of 2,200 miles per hour. But will the European be able to defeat the potential enemy? The UK's laser-directed energy program, run by missile systems manufacturer MBDA, has long since begun a series of tests of the accuracy and power of new laser weapons. This is a joint project of the UK Ministry of Industry, UK Ministry of Defence, MBDA, and Leonardo. As you can see, all these companies are among the Tempest developers. They managed to create a system capable of performing both offensive and defensive operations, which is ideal for fighter jets. The capacity of the system reaches 300 kilowatts. It works on the basis of infrared radiation directed at the enemy and absorbed by the materials of the casing, thereby heating it by thousands of degrees.
The environment's changing, and the threat's changing, and therefore we are looking at laser-directed energy weapons. They're around and about on the ships. There's other countries investing in them as well, but what we are taking a role on Tempest with our partners is to actually try and integrate them onto an air platform. So this would be the first fast jet with a laser-directed energy weapon on it.
This is a lethal weapon against any kind of vehicle because every tank, artillery, and airplane has shells that ignite, detonate, and tear the target from the inside due to high temperatures. Using such a cannon and its incredible speed, Tempest can fly freely into enemy bases and destroy key positions with one accurate shot. Of course, it can be tried to be beaten in advance, but it'll take a lot of effort because the Tempest flies at an altitude of more than 65,500 feet, which is unattainable for most modern air defense systems. In addition, it has several levels of radar protection. First of all, it has a modern stealth skin, while on older fighters it was only a special radar reflecting solution that covered the aircraft. In Tempest, invisibility is achieved thanks to a new composite material that's both strong, lightweight, and invisible to radar. Secondly, the Tempest was equipped with a radar jamming system that emits properly tuned waves that prevent enemy radars from detecting which aircraft is in the air. In addition, BAE Systems representatives say that Tempest will have new software for safety critical systems, which uses automatic coding. This means that the enemy will not be able to remotely hack into the fighter system, and it shouldn't be affected by interference generators. Let's consider it a trump card. Similarly, the comprehensive software approach makes it possible to quickly evaluate the performance of flight control systems during more complex maneuvers. And the simulator provides critical data on how the aircraft will handle and operate several years before the first flight. By the way, the Royal Air Force pilots have already flown more than 150 hours on the demonstration aircraft in a new simulator specially designed for this purpose. This means that as soon as the Tempest is ready, it'll be piloted by trained military personnel. However, this may not be necessary because one of the key concepts in the Tempest fighter is the introduction of unmanned systems. There are 3 types of them. The first is artificial intelligence in the onboard computer. It allows you to control the aircraft remotely or even without human intervention at all. Just imagine an unmanned fighter jet armed with a deadly laser weapon flying overhead.
Future of weapons could look very different to what they look like today. So we're looking at options to have flexible payload bays, have different missiles all contained within it.
The second unmanned system is a reconnaissance drone that works together with Tempest and allows collecting information from an area equal to more than 250 football fields. And the third system is an augmented reality helmet. When there's a fierce battle, all onboard processes need to be monitored, and at the enormous speed at which Tempest flies, the pilot simply cannot physically react to the environment. This is where the augmented reality helmet comes in. It transmits information from hundreds of fighter jet sensors directly to the human head. The system connects the pilot's brain and the aircraft, making them one. Sensors in the pilot's helmet will collect human brain signals and other medical information. Thus, during the flight, the smart helmet accumulates a database of unique psychometric data of a particular pilot, which will allow the onboard computer to intervene and take over. Tempest is very similar to the American NGAD. These aircraft are both AI-controlled, armed with lasers, and are invisible to radar. But what makes the British aircraft superior is the ease of its modernization. The main idea of the creators is to build a new fighter jet with systems that can be improved as easily as downloading an app to a smartphone. In the future, this will give Tempest the opportunity to stay relevant and quickly adapt to specific needs. The pilot can simply download the necessary settings and fly into battle on autopilot, knowing that the aircraft is fully prepared for even the most difficult tasks.
We're looking at everything from within flight systems areas, we're looking at battery technologies and using a lot less hydraulics. In the cockpit, we're looking at using augmented reality and virtual reality and trying to take a lot of the hardware away from that cockpit environment.
The Tempest was designed as a 6th-generation fighter, which meant a higher level of automation and modern technologies in the field of communications, fighting enemy electronic systems. As we can already see, most of these goals were achieved at the highest level, and comparing the Tempest with other 6th generation fighters, we can safely say that it turned out to be no worse, and in some ways even better. Well, we think this aircraft will become a new guardian of security in Europe, and will prove that working together is the key to peace and success. There's so much news about fighter jets that it's hard to keep track of it. However, today we're going to talk about the best fighter jet in the world among those that currently exist. By the way, write your opinions for the best fighter jet in the comments, and we're starting. The first fighter jet, which is associated with the word "the best," is the F-22 Raptor. It embodies the latest achievements of technological progress. With a maximum flight altitude of 62,000 feet, it reaches a speed of 1,500 miles per hour.
That the Air Force wanted a stealthy fighter. It was also clear that they wanted an airplane that would supercruise, in other words, run supersonically without lighting off the afterburners.
The Raptor was tested and adopted faster than any other analogs created in other countries. In addition, it's the most expensive combat aircraft in the history of aviation, as its price, excluding development costs, is $146 million. Much attention in the design of the aircraft is paid to survivability. Did you know that the aircraft can withstand high explosive munitions? But because of this, it was necessary to create polycarbonate glass for the cockpit with a special coating that's not only very strong, but also scatters radio waves, making the aircraft virtually invulnerable to radar detection and at the same time protecting it from direct hits.
I know firsthand from flying the Raptor against other aircraft and flying other aircraft against the Raptor that it's like clubbing baby seal.
Another special feature of the Raptor is its radar. This antenna, consisting of 2,000 elements, can detect targets at a distance of 140 miles and cruise missiles at a distance of 77 miles, which is almost a record among fighter jets. The F-22 Raptor was originally designed as a fighter jet that would gain air supremacy, therefore it's not very well adapted for striking ground targets. But it's more than suitable for air battles and can repel any modern aircraft. But there's another similar aircraft that performs well both in air combat and in hitting ground targets. The F-35 Lightning II is technically superior to the vast majority of modern developments, and it's also the most popular 5th-generation fighter jet.
Best flying aircraft I've had the opportunity to fly.
But have you ever wondered what caused such popularity? Of course, its characteristics and capabilities. Its engines not only accelerate the aircraft to 1,200 miles per hour, but are also capable of switching to a unique vertical thrust mode in which the F-35 can even do without a landing strip. It got to the point where the Lightning became the only fighter used on aircraft carriers, and it's not a deck-based fighter. The second reason for its popularity is invisibility. The more detection technologies are developed, the more emphasis in aviation is placed on invisibility for radar. In the F-35, this parameter's been honed to a fine point, all thanks to the redesign of stealth systems. In addition to the standard reflective plating and low-profile shape, the aircraft was equipped with a system that blocks most radar technology.
The mission of the airplane was to be half of what the Air Force called the high-low mix.
It's also worth mentioning the unique pilot's helmet installed on the aircraft. It has a built-in display that broadcasts part of the dashboard right in front of the pilot's eyes. This is incredibly convenient when it comes to intense combat, as the pilot does not have to spend precious seconds searching for important combat information. If that doesn't seem enough, then let's talk about the weapons, which are more than enough on the F-35.
Because of stealth, it's designed really to carry the weapons internally.
For large air enemies, a formidable weapon is provided in the form of ASRAAM guided cruise missiles capable of accelerating to speeds over 2,500 miles per hour. Smaller targets will be handled by a 4-barreled 25mm cannon that'll turn the enemy into a sieve in a few seconds. If the target's on the ground, the AGM-158 will deal with it. This is a high-precision cruise missile of especially large size and weighing a ton. It's designed to defeat important, highly protected targets and does its job successfully even in the most terrible weather conditions. However, these missiles are also present on the F-22. More unusual are the HARM anti-radar missiles, which can easily detect enemy radar and destroy them. And we haven't even mentioned the ability to carry cluster and even nuclear bombs. This set is already powerful enough to make the F-35 the best fighter jet of our time. But we've learned that it's very likely that the aircraft will be equipped with real laser weapons. However, the engineers are already creating a new onboard control system that works in tandem with artificial intelligence capable of self-learning, which will make the pilot more of an addition to the aviation complex, where he or she will make only the most important decisions and numerous related tasks will be taken over by automation. After all these words, you may think that there's no better fighter, but the F-35 has worthy opponents that will definitely surprise you because they belong to the previous 4th generation of fighters. The F-16 Fighting Falcon can be called a rather interesting aircraft because today there are more than 10 of its main varieties and the same number of local versions, and the most modern version is the F-16V. This version of the aircraft has some pretty cool features that have earned it its fame.
The F-16 Fighting Falcon is a lightweight multi-role fighter that is highly maneuverable in air-to-air combat and air-to-ground attack.
Its 49-foot length and 31-foot wingspan make it highly maneuverable and compact, ideal for quick and surprise attacks. It can carry 21 tons of payload, which includes homing anti-tank missiles, air-to-air missiles, and a radar jamming system. In short, a set that can destroy anything, anywhere. The maximum speed it can reach is 930 miles per hour, which has long been considered a steep figure, but you must admit that it's less than the F-35's. However, Flight Falcon has a trick up its sleeve, and it's a numerical advantage. While only 900 F-35s currently exist, more than 4,600 F-16s have been produced. Such a swarm is capable of smashing to pieces even a more technologically advanced enemy, but it's not just a matter of numbers. After many years of operation of the F-16, the developers realized that its current version was far from the limit of its capabilities and turned their attention to the technologies of more modern fighters.
The success of the mission brings attention to the F-16's flawless maneuvering and fly-by-wire controls. And this is only the beginning of the Fighting Falcon's rise to glory.
For example, the aircraft received an improved stealth system. There are millions of microparticles of a special substance on the surface of its body, which prevents radar from recognizing what's in the air. They also improved the avionics, controls, strengthened the hull, and diversified the armament. In general, they did a great job. And while you admire the coolness of the F-16, it's time to tell you about its counterpart. The F/A-18 is the world's most versatile 4th-generation fighter jet, as it's both a fighter and an attack aircraft. The Super Hornet took to the skies in 1995 and immediately outperformed its predecessors in many respects. From the layout to the electronic equipment, everything has been updated and refined to make the aircraft the most advanced at the time of its release.
Well, of course, the F-18 has smart technology built into almost all of the weapon systems. Almost all of the hardpoint pylons and launchers are smart technologies.
Its radar was the first in history to be able to see targets at a distance of up to 90 miles, and the F-18 was the first to use a system to counter enemy radar. The Navy Command wanted to get the most out of the F/A-18, so it set out to simultaneously increase the range, introduce stealth technologies, increase survivability, expand the area of air and ground targets, and integrate modern weapons, including cruise missiles. This overall approach is explained as simply as possible. There's no room for different aircraft on the aircraft carrier, and it's necessary to make the most versatile option.
But on the F-18, we're going to fold these wings upright, and now there's an extra 4 to 5 feet of space.
That's why Super Hornet can really do almost anything. Being a conquest aircraft is easy. This is thanks to the ability to carry 12 AIM-120 air-to-air missiles at once, which hit targets at supersonic speeds. Sinking enemy ships with stealth missiles is also an easy task, as there are AGM-158CS missiles on board, designed specifically for this purpose. Or maybe you need to throw high-precision bombs at the enemy, up to 10 of them in one flight, and it can do that. The F-18 is even capable of acting as an air tanker. Can any other aircraft boast of the same variety of capabilities? I think not. The F/A-18's safety margin's also in favor, as the aircraft's design is adapted to the stresses of catapult launches, hard landings on aircraft carriers, and salt water.
Because the F/A-18 is by far the most capable aircraft that these young pilots have ever flown in.
The only surprising thing is that, for all its advantages, the fighter did not become a bestseller like the F-16. Even more questions arise when it turns out that the price of the Super Hornet is only $53 million, while the price tag for the F-16 reaches $57 million. And this is without weapons. Each of these fighters is truly worthy of being called the best, but there's one that is simply bound to outperform any aircraft that exists today. We're talking about the Dark Star. This 6th generation fighter jet may still be under development, but what it can do, no one else can do. Fly at a speed of 4,350 miles per hour, use combat and reconnaissance drones, attack the enemy with the most powerful laser weapons, be invisible using advanced stealth technologies, and stay in the air 24/7 thanks to artificial intelligence control. It's not known when this aircraft will be officially released, but it will become the main contender for the title of the best fighter in the history of aviation. And for now, we can safely say that the United States knows how to create majestic aircraft that have been serving as a benchmark for many decades. This video's come to an end. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get access to the cool content we make for you. Thank you, and see you soon.